Welcome to IT Mythbusters, episode number 17. I'm Mike Fulton, CIO at Vernovus, and I am here once again with my good friend Suresh GP from TaUB Solutions. Suresh, how are you doing today?
Hey, thanks, Mike, for having, and a lot of requests coming from our viewers saying that what's happening to IT Mythbusters. So I'm pretty excited that we are kicking this off again with another episode of something very hot, debatable, and things to go across.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one's definitely a lot of myths being thrown out there right now on this particular topic. So after a nice little summer vacation for us where we took a little bit of time off, I'm excited to get back into it. Let's talk about this. So what's our myth going to be today, Suresh?
So for viewers, I just wanted to make sure that they are aware of that. We, myself, Suresh, as well as Mike, have been doing this as part of a Voice of CIO series. What we realized was, with we being in IT over 2 decades, we thought that it's very important to unravel some of those myths, which has been happening around every now and then, and people want some place to rant. And this is a place for all of us to rant and find out what's happening, what's not true. And that's a way to unravel this whole mystery. So we have actually done about 16 episodes. So you definitely need to go there and subscribe to the earlier episodes if you have not done. It's going to be a fun session. But for now, Mike, the myth that we want to address today, AI is going to take out my job. So I'm paranoid about it. Is it a myth?
Paranoid? Nobody's paranoid about AI right now. Come on.
So how do we, that's the topic, which is pretty hot. Every now and then people are, and just to give that context, right, with a lot of layoffs happening around, people are increasingly vigilant to see what value are they going to deliver it. And with AI trying to make a lot more shift in terms of automation and places to work, how is IT roles going to be even relevant, as well as will I have a job? So that's the point to start with. And I wanted to open it up for our discussion.
Well, I think this is obviously a very topical topic. I think it's a great one that we picked here tonight, Suresh. And I would say we could hit this in about 1,000 different angles, right? Sure. But for the purposes of our conversation today, it's the IT Mythbusters, voice of the CIO, and a lot of our audience are going to be IT professionals. I think we should focus in on IT roles specifically. Let's talk specifically about the impact of AI in the roles within IT. And I think I would lay it out and say that there's maybe 6 roles that we'll focus on today. Obviously, there's lots and lots of different roles and nuances and different roles within IT, but I think let's focus on BRM, business relationship management roles, project management roles, enterprise architect roles, application development roles, infrastructure roles, and operations roles.
Right, that's a pretty solid list of roles that are very popular, and all of our viewers are within that 6 roles. So
I think so. Now we may either have to talk really, really fast, or this might be a little bit longer episode. But let's jump right in with an area I know is near and dear to your heart, BRM. Let's talk about how AI is going to impact a BRM role.
Well, I think let's not be kidding. Like, AI is not a new kid in the block. They have done a lot more towards data and value realization. So one of the most important part is insights. For a business relationship manager, can I know my business partners effectively well? What kind of insights that I don't have currently that I can leverage from AI based on my previous historical experience that will give me a leap advantage to prepare myself when I approach my business partner? That's number one. Number two, as I look at a lot of these transformation journeys, because one of the role of being a BRM is to play that orchestrator role. So when I'm trying to drive digital transformations and lead transformations, some of the questions that my teams are going to ask, I need to be better prepared on that. So I want to look at AI as my assistant, right? To give me the required amount of information to move up the value chain quickly. Because frankly, my learning curve to be on top of gears of all the different topics is going to be difficult. So I would probably want someone to help me on that. So that's why AI will help. These are my 2 takeaways on AI and BRM.
I love that second one. That second one is so powerful to me, right? Because as a business relationship manager, you're the face of IT to that particular business partner, to that business unit or leader or whoever it might be.
Right,
And so you have to have a broad knowledge about all of the different parts of IT. And our IT is pretty vast,
right,
right, in most organizations. So having an artificial intelligence assistant that is trained on your organization, that is trained on the services that you offer as an organization to your business partners,
right.
I think is going to be incredibly valuable and a great way to make business relationship managers much more effective at doing their work.
Yeah,
So I think I love that you highlighted that one. I hadn't even thought of that one. I think for me, as I think about the BRM role, the most important element of the role is actually right there in the name,
right,
relationship.
right.
And I think when we think about AI and the BRM role, because the relationship is so important,
Right.
I actually don't think that um, AI is going to cause this role to go away.
Hmm.
I think you'll be better at the job because of leveraging that AI assistant like you talked about. You better damn well know enough about AI because your customers are going to ask you about leveraging AI to transform their business. So, but you are still going to have to get down in the weeds, create those relationships with the people, and use those relationships to help you be more effective managing and navigating the organizational change management that's going to come about. So I actually think for this role, AI is not going to take away your job. I think AI is going to make your job harder and it's going to give you more work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, that part is to circle around that is people are driven by emotions. And I call this human beings are social animals. We need touch,
Yeah.
feel, and warmth. And you cannot do this just with AI. So, as an imperative, as a BRM, we need to leverage data, but more importantly, that human emotions are going to be important to stay intact. So, you and I have not met for so long, but we became based on that conversations and things. And when we met in Columbus, Ohio, you saw that
Mm-hmm.
we picked up from the conversation that we left. It looked to be as more natural. So this is how relationships flourish and nurture. So I'm thinking that we will still have a lot more focus on relationship going forward.
Absolutely. Let's switch over to project management. What do you think about project management?
Well, I think project manager, in an opinion, is also facing a very big crisis from the agile way of working it. So let's take that a step ahead, right? Because
Yeah.
when a lot of times today, what's happening is there is self-organized teams and autonomous teams. So what's the role of a project manager? So that's the kind of the question that even steps up even before AI. But for me, my role of a project manager has been relatively a short span, so I'm going to pass on the buck to you to get us kickstarted on the project manager that I can add because you have a lot more experience on the project management space.
Yeah. So I think about AI in the project management space. I think that AI can actually be pretty helpful here. I think project managers spend a lot of time trying to coordinate, trying to navigate calendars, trying to collect status updates from people across the organization, trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page and working appropriately together, right? I think AI can and will play a role in making that part of the job easier, making project managers more efficient. I think AI can also play a role in schedule management, in trying to navigate and understand what is essentially a giant puzzle that you're trying to work through when it comes to trying to figure out what the critical chain is on a project and how you're going to effectively navigate to get all the work done. I think AI can potentially be really helpful in that journey. When you talk about that's more of the historic waterfall thinking, though. When you talk about more of an agile approach, I'm not sure that the role of a scrum master, if we take that as sort of akin to a project manager, I'm not sure a scrum master is going to gain a lot of benefit out of AI. I think
Right.
their role is really so much around coordination.
Mhm.
of the people and making sure that the ceremonies are getting performed and all of that. I think that will be. I don't think this is a role that AI is going to impact much. Whether you talk about project management or Scrum Master, I think in general, this role will stay more or less the same. Maybe get a little bit more efficient, but not much.
Yeah. So for me, I think the project manager role is going to be on the watch out for me to really think about what am I going to. I mean, finally, it's all about adding value, right? What
Yeah.
value am I adding, whether with AI or without AI? So I think if that question is kind of being very clear, and today I think project managers are also evolving towards not just being pure project managers, but evolving into more functional roles as well. So I think that there's a little bit of transition happening around. So the level of project managers also will change over a period of time. So that's my just thought about AI coming in. The whole role itself is undergoing a metamorphosis, in my opinion, of
I would
being
agree. Yeah,
relevant to that digital age. Yeah.
I agree completely. All right. Well,
So,
what about enterprise architecture?
so let's go to the
Both
enterprise
kind of touched
architecture,
on
because I think that is super important, because you and I know we are very passionate about this whole IT for IT aspect of it. So think about this today. Today, all of the organizations are looking at shifting gears towards a completely different environment, be it cloud natives, lift and shift, moving towards a model of cloud or hybrid or multi-cloud. So an enterprise architect role is going to be pivotal, right? And enterprise architects doesn't have a lot of time to play around and say, which option do I pick and choose to go? So for him, they're going to look at AI data to be more meaningful, to give them the insights about it based on your risk profile, based on your appetite, based on a historical information. I think you should go on this approach for the architecture. So for me, I think that could be a blessing in disguise to do it. That will leverage them to do it better. But you need to have someone do the think tank of articulating
yeah.
this whole end-to-end value chain. And that requires only the enterprise architect. So for me, the enterprise architect is the backbone of a product company, right? And if you don't have the right level of enterprise architect, you're not going to do it. So it's going to accelerate, but they're going to be irreplaceable, in my opinion.
I would agree with you. I think that the the work of the enterprise architect is out on the edge of creating new, right? You're creating a vision for the future for the organization. You're creating the roadmap for where you want to go and how you're going to get there, right? And what we've seen with AI so far is that AI really isn't very good at the what's possible. It's really good at restating or finding something that already exists. And
Right.
so if you're talking about an area where you have to do research, I think AI for an architect will be very valuable in culling through that vast amount of knowledge that's available to you to
Right.
help you get more quickly to what you really need to know. But that role of creating the net new for your company, it's not going to be nearly as helpful there. The other thing I would say, having talked to a number of business architects over the last several weeks and months, I believe that AI is actually going to dramatically increase the importance of business architecture for organizations. Most of the women I have talked to, and the men as well, that are driving business architectures for organizations, they have seen an uptick in the demand because the business process, the value stream, is at the heart of trying to understand, where do I leverage AI inside of my organization? I think about my organization, right? I'm a CIO, and as I look at how I'm going to leverage AI in my organization, I'm starting with the core value streams of my company
Sure.
and mapping out the business processes that sit underneath those value streams and identifying the AI use cases within that business process. And I think that's what's happening in organizations all over the world. They're leveraging business architecture to help on the AI transformation journey. And organizations that have invested in business architecture and have built out their capability maps and their value streams and things like that are a leg up over their competition that may not have made those investments. So I think EA, again, getting busier with AI, not really being replaced by AI.
Sure. And the final one that
Now,
I want
maybe
to,
we're going to change our tune on this next one.
yeah,
Tell me what you think about AI and application development, because
okay.
there's been a lot of noise here.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point towards that. In fact, I would combine both application and infrastructure together and put
Yeah.
this under a belt called AOps, because for me, that's a very close topic. So I'll probably pick that up. I did a recent session with Rob Akashok and Helen Bell on how AI impacts service management. So for me, I think a very important part, be it with application support, infrastructure operations, the level in which we have done our releases, support operations is changing so dramatically. People are increasingly impatient, and the level in which your productivity has to increase can only be done with AI. So for me, I think AI comes to the rescue after a long time to provide some element of relief for the application development teams, support teams to a greater extent, because frankly speaking, they're working more than what their stipulated hours is. So for me, I think that's what AI should help them to release some time to move forward. But what is your take on that?
Well, so particularly in this space, someone told me this just the other day. The best way to think about AI is like a really smart intern, right? There's somebody that's very capable. They've got a lot of knowledge, but you need to watch over what they're doing because they don't have a lot of experience and they might not get it right. So you need to have somebody that's got the experience, that's got the practical knowledge, and can kind of sit over top of and kind of watch what's going on versus relying 100% on that really smart intern to do everything perfect from the first time. You still have to teach them. You still have to bring them along. And that's where AI is today. And I think will be for the foreseeable future. So I think, again, AI is going to help you be a lot faster writing code, a lot faster building your infrastructures, but you still got to pair it up with the senior engineer that really has the knowledge to verify whether what the AI is producing is correct or not. Think about it as it's really kind of your AI is part of a peer review with that senior systems engineer. You have to do the exact same sort of thing to make sure it's effective. Very valuable, going to make us a lot more efficient. Maybe we don't need as many app developers, or probably more likely we're going to get a lot more done, right? But it's not going to make the jobs go away.
So what's your verdict is? Are we going to say AI is going to take out our jobs, or is it a myth which is not true? What do you think is a final verdict?
Well, for me, as we've talked through this, and we didn't really hit on operations, so let me hit on kind of the customer service part of IT and the operations piece. What I've seen in a lot of the research I've seen around AI is that customer service, marketing, and sales are going to be the two functions broadly for organizations that are going to be most impacted by AI and have the biggest ROI. So I think the same is going to be true in the IT operations space when it comes to customer service. I think we've got a lot of opportunity to get a lot of ROI out of AI in that particular space. So as I think about this continuum that we've talked about, I kind of relate it back to an IT operating model, a standard plan, build, run sort of operating model that goes from left to right. In that visual, that plan, build, run model, what I would say is AI is going to make our left-hand side of the operating model more challenging, and it's going to make the right-hand side of our operating model more efficient and start to take out work for people. So to me, I think it's a continuum. It's not going to replace any of our jobs yet, but it is going to allow us, particularly on the right-hand side of the operating model, to get more done with the same amount of resources in the near term. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think to your point that whatever we have discussed, it's very clear that this myth is busted because the
AI is not going to take our job.
to drop part of it. So it's great news that we will all stay intact. But remember to leverage AI, because if you're not leveraging AI, it's going to be a crime, because people are, your expected pace in which delivering value is going to be proportionately increasing high. So to look at AI as your friend, to support, leverage them to a greater extent so that it make your life a lot more easier, organization's life a lot more easier, and your customer's life even more better from what we are today.
But do so in a responsible way.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Protect the data of your enterprise.
Yeah.
Make sure you adhere to your AI policies. If you don't have AI policies in your enterprise, ask the question, what are our policies around AI? And challenge those policies if need be to make sure your organization is leveraging AI in a safe and responsible way.
Absolutely. And this is something that we see that it's an important way to manage, and it's a great way to see. So do you agree that we can bust this myth?
AI is not going to take our job. Myth is officially busted.
Excellent. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We look forward to seeing in our next episode, and talk to you soon again, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suresh. Bye.